I mean, the place was amazing. The grounds are completely, like it's this astonishingly sculpted landscape where everything seems to be sculpted out of trees and water so that interiority and exteriority meet, you know? What you're surrounded by is this exquisite, idealized, just completely perfect environment. And the buildings almost hover over the grass, like on a hot summer day when the air is so warm that it's tangible. And the manor seems to hover, and there's so much. The trees are so present that you can feel them growing. I'm not kidding. You start to realize that medieval conceptions of magic, frankly, must have just been completely based in a kind of reality that things were so green and growing that all the time it must have seemed a sort of magic. At least that's what it feels like because it was just such a creative environment. Everything so perfectly balanced. The interiority and the exteriority, you know the thing that Inigo Jones was always trying for?
Inigo.
There's a perfect harmony between the interior and exterior world.
Inigo. You said indigo. It's Inigo.
I said Inigo.
No, you said indigo.
I said Inigo.
It doesn't matter.
Not if you don't care about accuracy in language,
Come on.
but if you do care about
I
accuracy,
said Inigo.
it might matter a little.
Anyway, it was an amazing place to write at. I mean, McDowell was good too. It's serious at least. They don't let just anyone in, which is so necessary. I won't go any place except Yaddo or McDowell anymore. Pretty much every place else, let me tell you, the flavor of desperation is really not to be believed.
What are you working on?
A couple of stories. The one that the New Yorker asked to see. I did another draft of that, and my agent has some thoughts on the novel that I took a look at. He's going out with it next week, and we both thought that I should just take one last pass at it. Make sure that it was as tight as it could be. I just spewed so much of that thing, so there's always hopefully going to be a sort of on-the-road chaos to the sound. Not on the road, hopefully what I would achieve is a little more, I don't know, intellectually rigorous than what Kerouac was going for.
Yeah, I hope that too, because On the Road was such a minor achievement.
Well, it wasn't exactly a whole masterpiece.
What did you
Could
say?
we not talk about Kerouac, please? I mean, he was a complete psychotic pig. And guys love talking about him, and girls are bored to death.
Well, he didn't exactly have a feminist agenda.
Thank God for that.
What? I'm sorry, what did
I
you
just
say?
hate all these women who are so hung up about sex.
So women who don't like Kerouac are hung up about sex.
You can't deny there's an associative correlation.
Oh, I can absolutely deny there's an associative correlation. Like, Kerouac was a misogynistic hack. What's that got to do with
No,
women
no,
who
no,
like
no, no,
sex? What?
That's a little reductive.
You said anyone who doesn't like Kerouac is hung up about sex, and I'm the one who's reductive.
Don't listen to her. She loves him. She reads him in the bathtub. She lights candles and swoons in the bubble bath.
No.
Jack.
Oh my
Jack.
God.
Jack.
So you two like knew each other before all this, right?
In high school.
High school.
And you still have a crush on him?
What? No.
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 Just checking.
So, Douglas, your agent thinks that your novel is ready to go out?
Yeah, he's really optimistic. You want to be careful. But a lot of people saw the story in Tin House, so there's just a lot of interest.
That story was amazing.
Thanks.
Really, really elegant.
Thanks. I was pleased with how it came out. I mean, I was so worried about it because it was risky, you know, to go that experimental with the language. People aren't trained to be able to hear it anymore. Postmodernism has really fallen on hard times, although it's not so much postmodern really as magical realism. That's tonally more where I finally ended up, and I think that people are still willing to be able to, but God, the novel has really fallen on hard times. And I'm not saying, like, the ebook was okay, but I fucking really hate ebooks. And on top of it, all anyone wants anymore are memoirs. And I'm not saying, I think that's an interesting form. And don't get me wrong, I'm just as curious about the inside of my own mind as anyone. But please, where's the bathroom? Kate, I need to take a piss.
Oh, it's through the door and down the hall.
You have doors in the hallway? I love it. No, seriously, it's fabulous. Your family owns this place?
Well, we have a lease as long as one of us is like a direct whatever.
Oh, God, yeah.
As long as one of you is what?
It's, you know, it's rent controlled or stabilized, you know, whatever you call it.
No, come on. How much?
It's very affordable.
You're so old New York.
No, seriously, how much?
You know, it's been in our family a long time, and I thought you had to take a piss.
I do. I'm desperate to pee, but I'm more desperate to hear how much you pay for this palace.
Well, like I said, it's been in our family for quite a while now.
You don't know?
Well, of course I know.
Well then, what is it?
It's $800.
$800? What do you mean, 800 a day?
$800 a month.
You never told me that.
It's not a big deal.
Having a free apartment on the Upper West Side is not a big deal, but I can't believe I never heard this. How have I never heard this?
Well, it's lucky.
Lucky is a seat on the subway. You have 16 rooms and a view of the river.
Okay, you know, we only have 9 rooms, and you can see the river from just 2 of them.
The dining room, the living room, that bedroom.
Okay, 3. 3 rooms have view.
800 a month. That is fabulous.
It's socialism for the rich.
I didn't ask for it.
The rich never do. Isn't that funny? How people just keep giving them things they don't ever even ask for.
You know, being middle class doesn't make you morally superior, Martin.
I'm not middle class. I'm a nobody with a shitty, expensive apartment in Queens. And didn't say it made me morally superior.
You know, it doesn't make you a better writer either.
No, totally. 800 a month is like having a grant without actually having to go get one. Although grants aren't always about money. You want to be careful. Flying too under the radar, people don't like that.
People don't like that. What people?
Well, you have to stop being so mean to him, Martin.
We should. Indigo Jones, the flavor of desperation.
I mean, he knows lots of people.
I know lots of people too.
The people you know are nobodies who majored in English at itty-bitty liberal arts colleges on the East Coast.
You mean like you?
Well, he's been to Yaddo, and once you have in there, you have a pull. Maybe he could get you into Yaddo.
Where the interiority and exteriority of the landscape has reached such a supreme state of harmonic convergence that the whole place is about to lift off.
You're jealous.
Jealous of that.
I mean, you've been rejected by Yaddo 3 times,
Thank you.
and McDowell how many?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I needed to be reminded. Thank you.
Well, he's been a bunch of times. Plus, I'm telling you, he's really hooked up. His uncle is a famous, what was he?
He was one of the weathermen. One of the terrorists.
No, he was a playwright.
He was a terrorist.
He was a famous playwright who went to Harvard.
So what?
People care about that stuff, Martin. You just stop being such a snob.
I'm a snob?
You're a complete snob, making fun of the way he talks.
He talks like an idiot. His language is subhuman. It would be more interesting if it were subhuman. Then we could try to interpret what all the grunts and hand gestures mean. We could pretend like he's a clever chimpanzee who was trying to teach us how language actually worked, but he doesn't do anything as interesting as that. Just says things. Idiotic, meaningless, self-important observations about nothing. His words have nothing behind them. There's no music. There's no joy. There's no curiosity. There's nothing. And I'm not talking about this flat, terrifying banality of evil, nihilistic nothing. I'm talking about nothing.
This is what I mean. All this talk about language makes it sound like you don't like it.
Okay, you guys have to stop talking about him.
That's what I'm saying. Stop making such a big deal about language.
I'm a writer. We're all writers. If we don't care about language, what do we care about?
Sex.
Izzy!
Oh. Sex. Oh.
I want to write one of those drug menace books. You know all those old mass market paperbacks that have the girls with their shirts off on the covers? all about smoking opium and ruining the lives of men. And then I'm going to pose for the cover. And I'm going to be in New York Magazine.
Well, there's a career goal. Show your tits to New York Magazine.
It's ironic and witty. I'm going to be famous.
This place is great. What'd I miss?
You gotta understand, this is a totally irrelevant dream state you're hibernating in up here. I mean, I was just in Moldova doing research for this thing, and I ate cabbage with a Chechnyan psychopath. Then, I'm in Dubai, hanging out with a bunch of Shiites and Sunnis, people wanting to kill each other. I almost get in a fist fight with a Russian prostitute who is of a totally indeterminate gender. Don't get me started on that story. The reality is I was stoned out of my mind. It was fucked up. All of it. But it was relevant. This world we live in, it no longer exists. Last year, where was I? Moldova? Anyway, I was hanging out with this guy, a genocide survivor. His arms are gone, chopped off. He can't do anything anymore except lie around, beg for whatever pittance some half a bowl of rice a fucking UN peacekeeper throws him every other day. Otherwise, he just lies in the mud, unless someone like me comes along and helps him get drunk. So, I spend like 3 hours with this guy, just listening to him tell his fucking story until finally he gets really quiet. And he says, hey man, I got HIV. I'm gonna die. And I'm like, forget it! I'm overwhelmed. I go, why are you telling me all this? Why am I the receptacle of this incredible fucking story? And he says, because you are a writer. You must write this. It must be told. How'd I get off on this? What were we talking about?
Kate had a story.
Right. Kate's story. Where is it?
It's in your hand.
Yes. Right. So, what were we talking about?
The first sentence?
Oh, Christ. Yeah, now I remember. Oh, Christ. When truth is universally acknowledged, it is also universally disdained. I can't. What the fuck?
That's not the whole sentence.
Yeah, I can see that. I see the semicolon, and I understand that that means that there's more coming, but I'm not sure that I want to continue, okay? I mean, I'm not even getting through your first sentence. So why don't you tell me what you're doing? Because it's not exactly drawing me in.
What am I?
What are you doing?
It's a referencing of Jane Austen. The first sentence of Pride and Prejudice, it's meant to be a sardonic
What's
commentary.
so fucking sardonic about
It's the narrator. She's.
it? Well, I don't give a shit about the narrator. If I can't get past the first 5 words, how the fuck am I supposed to find out enough about the narrator to care about it?
Well, it's not a him, it's a her.
See, that would be my point. If I can't tell what gender your narrator is, then you haven't really done your job, have you?
Well, how if you don't read past the first 5
Listen
words?
to me.
How can you tell?
Don't defend yourself. Listen to me. If you're defending yourself, you're not listening to me. I do know who your narrator is. She's a completely inexperienced, sexually inadequate girl whose rich parents give her everything and who has nothing to say, so she sits around thinking about Jane Austen all the time. I don't give a shit about that person. This is what I'm saying. I don't have to get past the first 5 words because I already know enough and I don't give a shit.
I liked it.
No, you didn't.
I did. I thought she was doing this thing with sexual irony. Like, the lack of sex was sort of like a come-on.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think that it's intelligent and thoughtful. Well done.
I liked it too.
Guys, this is adorable. You're all very sweet. But don't kid yourselves. You're all going to be nice to her now because her story tanked. But you're not in this together, and trust me, you wouldn't think her story was so great if it really were any good. If it were really any good, you'd fucking hate it. Writers in their natural state are about as civilized as feral cats, and all this well-done bullshit means that you're not being honest. And if you're not being honest, who gives a shit what you're writing? Who's up next? All right, cowards. See you next week.
Oh God, I can't believe how late it is. I have to go. My mom's in the hospital.
Wow, that's a drive. Do you need a ride?
You drove to the Upper West Side.
No, I meant on the subway.
You're gonna give her a ride on the subway?
I just thought that maybe she needed some company. Her mom's in the hospital, Martin.
It's not serious. I mean, she's not like dying or anything.
So, do you want to grab a drink?
Sure, great.
You okay?
What do you think, Martin? Am I okay? Am I okay?
Sorry.
What an asshole. What a jerk.
Yeah?
People think he's a genius. What is so fucking genius about that?
That's what I've been saying. Can we give you a ride home? The guy's a moron.
Not Douglas, Martin. I'm talking about Leonard. Leonard is an idiot.
Oh. Thought you were talking about Douglas.
Did you think that was smart? Did you think that him standing there telling us we're all fucking losers if we don't go to Egypt and smoke water pipes, we're completely irrelevant as human beings if we read the New York Times? Does that seem smart to you?
That's not really what you said.
Which is absolutely what he said. I'm irrelevant because I live in a nice apartment. No, love that. How about I'm irrelevant because I'm an overeducated girl?
That's not what he said.
He said I was sexually inadequate.
He said the story was sexually inadequate.
How would he know? He didn't read more than 6 words.
He's not talking about you. He's talking about the story.
The story he hasn't read.
You read the first page, right? We all sat here and watched him read the first page.
Big fucking deal. What is your point, Martin?
I don't have a point. I just mean that's all we get, right? Everybody says it. If you don't get them on the first page, that's all you get.
So it's my fault that I sat there and got completely humiliated by that asshole. God, everybody acted. I mean, they all said, "Oh, he's great, but he's a rough teacher." But you know what? I don't see what's so great about just being abused. That's not teaching. That's just being a shithead. You know, if I want someone to tell me I'm wasting my time, I can talk to my mother. You know, everyone thinks it's just so fun and cool to be mean to artists. But you know what? If we weren't here, there would be nothing but immorality and anarchy and chaos. You know, we are the soul of the culture. People can just fucking be nice to us once in a while. Jeez.
What are you doing?
I'm depressed and I'm trying to make myself feel better. Is that all right with you?
Don't be depressed.
My story got creamed. I'm depressed. I'm a depressed feral cat.
If you think he's stupid, what do you care if he didn't like your story?
I didn't think he was stupid until he was stupid to me today.
So, if he liked your story, that would make him not stupid.
Yes. If he liked my story, that would make him smart. Okay? Okay? Okay?
Just making sure.
Why are you still here? Douglas is out there having drinks with the love of your life. Why are you hanging out with a loser?
She is not the love of my life. Are you kidding?
Yeah, all right. Sure.
She's a twit.
Oh yeah, guys hate that. Sucks that she's so gorgeous too.
She's okay. No, I mean, okay. She's attractive. No one is going to say that she's not
Oh
attractive.
my God, you should hear yourself. Attractive. You know, why don't you just put a gun to your own head? You are so completely in love with her. Do you think it's not utterly obvious to absolutely everyone who sees you in the same room with her?
I am not in love with her.
Okay.
She's clearly got something going on with Douglas. How she can even stand to talk to the guy for more than 15 seconds at a go is a mystery. The guy is an unmitigated embarrassment to the human race. Seriously. Can I give you a ride? Give her a ride! So daring. Maybe he should give her a ride to Yado, where the interiority and exteriority of the landscape is so stunningly in sync with the diasporic essentiality to the mimetic dialogue of self and culture. Maybe that's what he should do.
Oh, don't kid yourself. She would love a ride to Yano. Don't eat all the chips. I want those.
Fuck me. Fuck her. Fuck him.
Not me. I'm the one who got screened. But this sucks. That story is fantastic. story?
Well,
What? What?
nothing.
You don't love that story.
It's okay. You've been working on it for 6 years?
That's right. I've been working on it for 6 years because people love that story. People. Frank Conroy. Before he died, he was the writer-in-residence up at Bennington, and he read it. You know what he said to me? He said it was much better than most. Not better than most. Much better than most.
Much better than most. That is so lame, okay?
Yes, it would be lame coming from you, but it didn't come from you. It came from Frank Conroy. You know who else likes that story? Tobias Wolff. He read it when I took that summer writing course, and he said it had some nice things in it.
Okay, do you even hear yourself? Look, you know how long you've been writing that story? 6 years.
Yeah, that's right, 6 years.
Why have you been writing this same story for 6 years?
Because it's a good story. It's a really good story. Look, when I was at Bennington,
Oh,
they said
Jesus,
nothing.
was there ever a time when you weren't at Bennington? You exist in this alternate universe called Bennington.
I learned a lot there, Martin.
What you learned was how to write one lousy story in 6 years. But that's not... I didn't mean the story was lousy.
Fuck you.
Why have you been writing the same story for 6 years?
Because people kept telling me that it was good, but it needed more work.
Well, then Leonard just did you a big favor, didn't he?
Meaning?
Well, now you can write something else.
You know, this is my apartment, so I can't walk out. Can you walk out,
No, don't
please?
do that. No,
No,
don't
I
do that.
want to
Hey,
do that.
hey,
Please,
look,
turn
come on.
around.
No.
I want to.
Listen,
Please,
look.
just-
Okay, listen to me. I have to tell you something.
What?
I got kicked out of my apartment because the rent is a little late. Can I stay here? No, you have like 9 extra bedrooms and it's free. Who knew it would be free? I can stay, right?
Who's got something? Who are we starting with today? Come on, children. What are we here to do? We haven't got all night. Am I a fucking writer or am I a fucking piece of shit coward? Am I trying to construct a living, breathing cosmos with language, or am I scratching on the wall of a cave? Am I a feral cat, or am I a useless goldfish in a bowl that would be better off if someone flushed it down the toilet, which is what's going to happen to it anyway?
I have something. I have a story. I didn't know if Douglas and Martin had something. I was thinking maybe they would want to go. Or maybe Kate has something else.
No.
Okay, well, I do have something. I haven't been working on it very long. I just started it a few days ago.
Yeah, I can tell.
Oh, well, but, okay.
No, it's good. You got something on the page, you should let people read it. All this rewriting people do these days, it squeezes the guts out of everything. Like this thing I read last week, a couple weeks ago, it was so fucking lifeless. This person had clearly been rewriting this stupid thing for maybe 10 years or something. It was ludicrous. I mean, there was just nothing left to it except this sort of desiccated corpse. If you're gonna write, be a fucking man about it. Kerouac wrote On the Road in like a week or something.
Okay, I'm sorry, wait, what did you just say? Did you say that we should be a fucking man about writing and that we should be like Kerouac?
You should write like yourself.
Yes, and I agree with that, but if myself is a woman, I don't see why I should then write like a man.
Well, if you want to be some fucking feminist about it, that would be up to you. But I can't help you with that.
Feminist. No, I didn't say feminist, I said woman. Woman, what is wrong with being a woman and being a writer?
You would have to answer that for yourself.
Okay, but you said it. You said, be a man. Be like Jack Kerouac, who is a total pig to women.
Look, you want to argue feminine politics with me. I'm not here to argue with you about that.
Okay, but
I'm here to talk about writing.
But we're not talking about writing.
Well, no! Because you've commandeered the conversation. Is it all right with you if we talk about the story that your fellow writer has presented to the group?
Sure. Of course. Sure.
This is fresh. This is lively as hell. Do you have copies?
Yes, yes I do.
Good. Pass them out because people should. We'll talk about this one. There's a real energy here, a lightness, a touch, a sexual edge to the language, which I gotta say, it got me on board. But boom! Like this thing I read last week. I don't remember when I read it. It was like a lump of nothing. It just laid there. There was no forward motion. The words were like lumps of shit.
Hey, if you don't mind, could we not...
What is your problem? I'm trying to teach a class here.
Hey, but you're not teaching, you're just insulting me.
I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just telling your fellow... What was your name again?
Izzy.
I was just telling Izzy about the experience of reading her story, which, you might want to participate in, unless you can't support your fellow writer, and that would be up to you.
Okay, look, this is
Maybe,
really going too
maybe
far.
we should just continue to talk about Izzy's story.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Without, I think what Kate is getting hung up on is you keep insulting her work.
This isn't about her.
Yes, that's right. But it's hard because you keep bringing up the story from last
That's
week.
got nothing to do with her.
Well, it was her story.
That's not her story.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No! Christ, that's what I'm saying. That was a totally different situation. That was somebody else's story. This relentlessly talent-free story about some girl who had this obsession with Jane Austen. Christ. What a soul-sucking waste of words that was.
That was Kate's story.
That was your story.
Yes, that was my story.
Oh. Oh, that was your story.
Yes!
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Obviously, I didn't think that story really worked. This, on the other hand. Who wrote this?
I did.
This has a really great, sexual energy to it.
Thank you.
The tone of Asian exoticism. I was in Shanghai once. Have you ever been in Shanghai?
I have an uncle who lives there.
I bet you do.
Can we please talk about the story? I just have some questions. Because I admire it. I really do, Izzy. I think that there's a terrific tone that's both sinister and wry, and that it's truly original. I'm just a little unsure as to where. Not that with 2 pages you have the whole thing planned out. I'm just more or less curious.
Where? Who gives a shit where? Why would you ask that question at this point? Don't ask where when where is the point, am I right?
Well, it's still really new. I think where is a good question. That's why I wasn't sure I should even show
I'm not saying where is not a good question. I'm saying that's what I admire about the energy of the opening. It dares to ask the question without knowing the answer. The writing itself is asking the question. See, this reminds me of my time at Yale with Penn Warren. There was no getting past him. No point even trying. He was religious, ruthless about sound. Everything else, intellect, idea, motion, character, all were secondary. If there wasn't a sound, there wasn't a discussion capable of continuing in a meaningful... I'm not saying this right. No, I am. I am, actually. This has a sound. It rings like a bell. It doesn't matter that there's no subject or story or idea or meaning. It's got power. It's got sex. Well done. Well done. What was your name again?
Izzy.
Well done, Izzy. What else have you got?
2 pages. It wasn't even 2 pages. It was a page and a half.
It was more than a page and a half.
It's not 2 pages.
It's almost 2 pages.
So what can you fucking tell from 2 fucking pages?
2 good pages.
They're not good. You don't honestly think that idiotic dribble was good.
They're not bad,
Oh,
okay?
they're horrible. You really think that's good? You think that shit is good?
I think.
No, you just want to sleep with her. You don't know what you think.
What are you doing?
I'm eating cookie dough.
Girls actually do that. I can't believe girls actually do that.
You know, I can't believe that guys actually think that maybe they want to sleep with someone. That means she's a good writer. That's what I can't believe.
She is a good writer.
I am a good writer, Martin. Okay, just because none of you want to sleep with me, that doesn't mean I'm not any good. Okay, let me tell you something. If this writing seminar were made up of completely, exclusively lesbian writers, I would be a fucking star.
Are you a lesbian?
Martin, no, I'm not a lesbian.
People change their minds.
Well, I have not changed my mind. I'm just a lonely, bad writer who's getting fat.
Shit. That stuff's delicious. Listen, you're totally hot. And you don't need a bunch of lesbians to tell you that.
Izzy is hot.
You're hot too. Look, I often go to bed thinking about you at night in the bubble bath with Jack Kerouac.
Oh my God.
Now, that turned out to be a very potent image for
I
me.
bet it did.
Jack! Jack! Jack!
What, so that's a bumping I've been hearing down the hall?
Jack!
Martin, stop it! Give me that
What's that?
Chinese food.
You ordered Chinese food?
Yes, I did. I am a terrible writer, and I am committed to getting fat. It's a commitment now.
Kate, I really liked your story.
Oh God, you did not. Your Leonard hated it so much within 1 week. It's become legendary in his imagination how bad it is. Now I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here with that asshole in my apartment for 10 weeks. This sucks. My life has no meaning.
Your life has meaning.
No, it doesn't. And yours doesn't either.
My life has meaning.
Oh, please, it does not. On top of which, you're afraid that the girl you're crushing on is going to be...
I'm not crushing on Izzy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if you are or not. Okay, she is like a fish to fry, isn't she? See, she's not afraid of showing her work, and she's going to get it published too, because Izzy is not afraid of doing whatever she has to. And right now, she's not having sex with our hideous and disgusting teacher.
Izzy is not having sex with Leonard. No, it would be completely unethical.
Which is why, of course, it would never happen. Oh. Hi, Douglas. What are you doing here?
She's having sex with them. It's completely unethical. I mean, I wouldn't care. It's not gonna prove God knows.
Izzy is not having sex with Leonard.
They went home together.
You don't know that.
Mark, after we left the apartment, we went to that shitty bar across the street to have a drink. After 3 glasses of wine each, he looked her in the face and said, "Hey, you want to come back to my place?" And she was like, "Sure." And they left together.
That doesn't mean she slept with him.
They were making out on the sidewalk right in front of the restaurant, right in front of me. The table is here. The plate glass window is right here, and they're making out right here. If the window wouldn't have been there, they would have been in my lap. He was filling her up right in front of me.
Come on.
Do you think I'm making this up?
Well, what was she doing?
She was participating.
That is so unethical. For Leonard to take advantage of her like that.
You are insane.
You don't think it's unethical.
Oh, I think Izzy's getting her story published in the New Yorker, is what I think.
You can't get your work published by sleeping with your fiction teacher, Kate.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I just don't think that Izzy is naive enough to think that sleeping with Leonard will help her career.
Naive. You think it's naive of her to think something like that?
I just meant.
You know, I know what you meant. Here's what I meant. Calling a woman or a man who sleeps with a powerful guy naive is It's naive.
Which is still unethical. It just makes Leonard's behavior coercive.
Coercive. You know, maybe it was coercive of Izzy to write 2 pages of a story that's all about sex, and then go have drinks with her fucked up writing teacher who can't remember anybody's name because he's constantly thinking about his dick. Maybe that was the coercive part.
Oh, honey, and maybe you're just jealous.
Maybe I'm jealous. Maybe you're an idiot.
Oh, maybe I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe, shut up! Huh? Just shut up, the both of you, please. Shut up.
What's that?
Chinese food.
Your uncle said you were talented.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say.
I didn't say you were talented. I said your uncle said you were talented. I didn't say you weren't talented. This is not without talent. The section about the top of the girl's dresser, the 2 bottles of nail polish standing next to each other like lost and terrified soldiers. It's not bad. It's nice that you've already referenced the peeling of the red nail polish on her toes so that we get the allusion to blood without you having stated it explicitly. It's all right. It's good, even. Your description of the butterfly poster over the bed is first rate. It's not the pedestrian interpretation one might be tempted to make about teenage girls and butterflies. There was a time when tribal peoples had carved butterflies into stone, had reckoned them messengers from the gods. Those tribal peoples are fantastic. The way that you drop them in, it's a beautiful surprise. You paint her bedroom well.
Thank you.
Wow. Teenage girl's bedroom. Wow.
You don't like it.
No. It's terrific. Well done.
No, come on.
I like it. I'm a little confused on the relevance factor. Just 2 weeks ago, you told us to write about dying beggars in the Sudan, but so I'm not without confusion now how this does that, but it's not without talent. That's what I've always said about Douglas. He's not without talent.
Don't be such a pussy.
Pussy?
You don't think you're being a pussy?
Do I think I'm being a pussy?
Martin.
Martin, what? Do you like it?
I do, yeah. I like it a lot.
And do you think I'm being a pussy?
I think it's a pretty good story too, Douglas. It's good.
Oh, pretty good story. And I'm a pussy. That's great. I thought this was a writing seminar where we discussed writing with something approaching intellectual sophistication, but pretty good story. And I'm a pussy. We're ascending the heights here.
I think the word pussy is pretty intellectually sophisticated. It communicates precisely the meaning I'm looking for.
My point.
I know your point. You don't like me calling you a pussy, even though you're acting like a pussy. You want to talk about writing. You guys have all paid me a lot of money because you think that I can help you understand the craft of writing so that you can go off and have successful so-called careers as writers of fiction, which is more or less my specialty. Unless something else is your problem.
No, that's pretty much my problem. Just want to discuss writing without the word pussy being involved, unless that's a big problem for you.
No, I can handle that.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us what you think about the story? Since you want to stay focused on the writing and you don't think you're being a pussy, I think we'd all like to hear what you have to say about today's writing sample, offered up to us with friendly, indeed almost dog-like equanimity by our not untalented friend Douglas. Douglas, your uncle mentioned that the New Yorker was seriously looking at one of your stories. Is that this story?
Yes, yes.
Why
yes.
don't you tell him what you think about that, Martin? Look, you stay out of this. Come on, Martin. Tell your fellow writer that one person in this room who is in fact succeeding at something you're failing at, tell him what you think. And tell the truth. Come on. Come on, all right?
Well, I loved it. Seriously, the language is amazing, Douglas. I just learned a ton from it. And frankly, I know that Martin thinks so too. He told me last week. We both read your other story, the one in Tin House, and Martin flipped.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He thinks Douglas is a thrilling writer.
Yeah.
That's what he told me, at least.
I enjoy Douglas's work a lot.
I like it too, Douglas. It's good.
Thanks, Izzy. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Martin.
Good for you, Martin. That is, he managed to jump in and tell us all how much you liked Douglas's writing before you got a chance to tell him that it sucked, because that would have been awkward.
It doesn't suck. It's good.
It is. It is good. There is a level of competence here that is almost chilling in its thoroughness. This is the perfection rendition of a New Yorker story. It's capable, graceful in places, a detached tone of perplexed intelligence. You have a relatively famous last name in literary circles. Not too famous, but famous enough. It's not a home run, but a standing dove.
I mean, I'd love to hear some criticism.
Oh, you'd like that.
I mean, I would. See, if I combine the interiority of the Stephanie character especially, I just think that there's a few places where the complexity of her need for emotional dissonance is probably just not fully rendered.
Yeah, that's the problem with writing emotionally distant characters. They're difficult to write for because who gives a shit finally about someone who's got no interior life?
No, I don't think she has no interior life.
Listen, I'm gonna level with you, okay? I'm gonna give you some advice, and I think it's gonna be totally like on the money useful to you.
Great.
It's gonna sound a little rough, but you expect that, yeah? I mean, you're not gonna turn into some big baby about the truth like some other people.
No,
Good.
of course not.
Good, 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 because there's something in your writing that it's hard to, well, it's around the tonal perfection. And there's a kind of, it's a little like a whore.
The character is Stephanie?
No, not the character, you. The way that you talk about writing is kind of stupid. Plus, the way that you write is so unimaginative in the way that you attack the problem that you set for yourself. I mean, it's skillful, but whorish. It's like the way you play your name off, your connections. You're a name dropper, you're a whore, and that's in the writing. It's perfect in a kind of whorish way. I don't know why you're wasting your time on fiction. I mean, you're good at it. I'm not saying you're not.
Well, no,
It's just, if you could do this, why not make a ton of money doing this? You're capable. You have a few publications under your belt. You have a famous last name. They love that shit in Hollywood. You could make a ton of money. Or you could spend the rest of your life writing fiction that nobody reads or respects, even if they read it, because you're talented, like I said, but you're never going to be great. And there are so many people who are never going to be great. Most writers of fiction just evaporate. But that's going to be kind of a problem for you because of your whole whorish attitude to the whole thing, the name dropping, and of course, the name. It will in fact be particularly degrading and even humiliating to be ignored to the extent that you will be ignored. Because at the same time, you'll be allowed in. You'll be invited to cocktail parties. You'll go to exclusive events at the public library, but you'll never be on a panel because too many people who know shit will know it's hollow. The work is hollow. I think about Hollywood.
Oh,
Yeah, but
The story is excellent.
Yeah, we've all heard that you think the story is thrilling. I don't think that it's thrilling. I think that it's good in a whorish way, and that is the extent of his writing ambition, and that he could make a fuck ton of money in Hollywood.
But I'm a fiction writer.
You wanted the truth. That's the truth I have.
Well, yes. No, but thanks.
Right then, I got to go to Somalia tomorrow, so I'll see you pussies in 2 weeks.
Well, he's going to Somalia. Maybe someone will shoot him.
I actually like the story.
Fuck you! You think the story's shit? At least he told me what he really thinks. Can someone please just check the hallway and make sure that he's gone?
Sure. He's gone.
Good.
Wait, Douglas, don't just go walking off. Douglas, wait.
You're an asshole.
I'm an asshole? He's an asshole. Not Douglas. Leonard. Douglas is a shit writer, but he's not an asshole. He's not even a shit writer either. He's a pretty good writer who mostly writes shit.
Which is what Leonard said.
You're siding with Leonard now.
I'm not siding with anyone. This is a situation. What is the matter with you?
What's the matter with me?
You were about to tell Douglas his story sucked.
I-
You were too, and I saved you, you jerk. Douglas is hooked up, and P.S. He's a good guy. You need to make him your friend. You want to keep getting rejected by Yaddo and McDowell? Why don't you just keep sending blind submissions to those places like every other loser in the world?
Hey! Don't hold back.
I'm not, because you know what? I don't care what anyone says. We're in this together, and it's a game. It's a situation, and we need each other. Douglas can help us. Leonard too.
Fuck Leonard. No, that guy is an asshole. Everyone is like, oh, he's so amazing. He only takes on a few students and you'll learn so much. You know what I've been learning? Give me my money back. Because I can't believe I scraped together $5,000 for this. I can't even pay my rent.
Maybe the reason you're not learning anything, Martin, is because you haven't shown him any of your work. Has that occurred to you?
Well, maybe I haven't shown him any of my work because all I've seen him do to my fellow writers is stomp on their hearts and call them whores or turn them into whores. Sorry.
You mistake me, Martin, for someone who gives a shit what you think.
Yes, I see your point there. Look, clearly, you should just go ahead and do whatever you're going to do.
Just for the record, however, I did not sleep with Leonard.
It's none of my business. You're right.
I didn't sleep with him. Don't you believe me?
It doesn't matter if I believe you or not, Izzy. It's none of my business.
Are you calling me a liar now? Now I'm not just a whore, I'm a liar and a whore.
I didn't say that.
Douglas was right. At least Leonard tells the truth.
Look, why are you mad at me? You're right. I'm pathetic. I'm a pathetic chicken. But I just think you could do a lot better than that. You're so beautiful, Izzy. You're exquisite. You're smart and funny and so full of life.
Am I?
Well, yeah.
You know, you're right. Since I'm not sleeping with him, surely I could do a lot better.
Well, you could.
Could I?
Well, yeah.
How much better?
A lot. A whole lot. A lot.
No, I think you're right, Martin. Where's your bedroom?
Where's
The bedroom. The bedroom, Martin?